So welcome everyone to another call on the Solve Network. Today's guest expert is Deauke Robbens, who's going to be talking about leadership training with horses, which I'm very excited to learn more about. And I first met her when she came on the first time and did a talk about healthy habits. So I'm very happy to welcome her back. And I encourage anyone who's listening to this afterwards to go to our website, thesolvenetwork.com. We do have a calendar up now, and you'll be able to see who upcoming guest experts are. And if you'd like to join us live on the call, you're more than welcome to. Calls are the first and third Thursday of every month. And I'm happy to say we're booked up through November already. So if anyone is interested in being a guest expert, please contact us so that we can get you booked before we run out of spaces. And without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Deauke, and thank you so much for being on tonight.
Hi, Shane. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me once again. So I'm very excited to present this topic to you, which is not yet known that well, especially in the US. So I'm originally from Belgium, Europe, and Belgium and like the Netherlands, they're already big on this topic. So I'm happy to introduce it a little bit more and tell you a little bit more about it in the US especially. So I have a couple slides for you. It's more for the pictures because they say more than words. So I'm gonna start with sharing my screen. There we go. So today I'm going to talk about leadership coaching with horsepower. So that means horse assisted leadership trainings, or equine assisted leadership trainings, how they often call them as well. And my subtitle is How Horses Are Our Teachers for Self-Discovery and Self-Improvement. So I want to share first how it all began. So I did not grow up with horses. And as every little girl, I think, or a lot of little girls, I kept begging my parents to get a horse for me. Luckily, they didn't. We couldn't afford it, and I'm happy that they just didn't give in to that, my nagging, because I did get a horse, or I got myself a horse in 2009. And how that came about, because I didn't grow up with horses, I wasn't in the world of horses, and so how does someone as an adult suddenly has a horse? And the reason why is because I got married, and my husband and I moved to the countryside, and I actually wanted a dog because I have had a dog all my life growing up. And my dog had just passed away the moment I met my husband. And so when we moved into our house, I proposed to get a dog. And he's very rational, and I am the impulsive and adventurous one. And he said, I don't think our lifestyle and our jobs, that it would be very fair to get a dog. So what happened was that that summer I went and helped out an old friend. She needed some help with her horses, and I thought I can do that. So one night I came back in the house, and I said to my husband, what if we, instead of a dog, what if we got a horse? He didn't say no, so that's why I pushed it a little bit, and we had some pasture behind our house. And so 6 months later we had a horse, and it was an 1,100-pound Friesian. They're pretty tall horses, draft type of horses. And I, besides as a little girl doing some horse riding camps in the summer, I knew very, very little about horses. So the journey began about learning about horses and learning how to interact with them. And this horse had been ridden by a 12-year-old girl and taken care of by a little girl. So I thought, if she can do it, I can probably do it too. Well, after a couple of weeks, things went like downward, and I started to actually get a little bit scared, be afraid of the horse. I didn't understand him, and I thought he was pretty pushy, and I felt a little bit threatened, and I got actually scared, and it was one of the only moments in my life that I regret getting a horse, because I thought, what did I get myself into now? Anyhow, the people at the farm there, they were all horse people. And so that friend that got me to, introduced to the horses, she said, you need to ride him and you need to work your horse and all that, and I'll give you riding lessons. So she helped me with that. And she was all about, you need to control the horse, you need to show the horse who's the boss. And so she had me use the whip on the horse when he didn't listen to me, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to ride. And so every time she gave me a lesson, I got home and I felt actually sick to my stomach, because this was so not what my values are. And I didn't understand that this was the way you had to be with a horse. So luckily, a little bit later, I bumped into this woman in Belgium who was a horse trainer for difficult horses, and her company or system that she designed is called horsefulness. And so I had her help me with my horse. And so she taught me horsefulness is horsemanship with mindfulness combined. And so the more and more I learned, I thought, like, this is a blessing that I bumped into this lady, because this feels so much better than what I was taught in the beginning. So I learned that there's no such thing as bad horses, that it's just the communication that is not working, the vibes that are not aligned and all that. So it became a very, very interesting journey. And actually it became a journey about learning about myself. I felt that whatever challenge I bumped into with the horse, it always taught me something about myself. And I approached it with a lot of patience and understanding. And imagine that you meet a creature and you want to, or another person from another, and you want to communicate, but there is no mutual language. So how do you bring your message across and have that, creature or person, or have them do what you want without language? So with me not knowing so little about horses, I learn that, it's body language, and it's your energy, and it's your intention and your direction. So I learned all about that. And I learned also that if you are not a great leader, if you don't know what direction you are going or what your intention is, if you don't know that yourself, then how can that second person creature, how can they follow you? Why would they trust you to follow you? And like, horses are very different than a dog. A dog, most dogs, with dominance and with your voice and your intonation and volume of voice, you can make the dog come to you when you make yourself angry, or dominance is possible with a dog, and have them listen to you. But with a horse, an 1,100-pound horse, that's just not how it works with a horse. So I learned that a horse's primal priority is survival. Number one is survival. Number two is comfort. And number three is leadership. So I will tell you a little bit more about that. But first, let's move on to the next slide. So I got my horse. I learned a lot. And that was in 2009-10. In 2012, I learned so much about horses that I said to my husband, it's not good for a horse's mental state to be by himself. I think he needs a companion. So my husband said, oh no, my God, where are we headed with this? So he was gonna, get a sheep or a goat. I found this amazing thing called a miniature horse. So cute. So we got a miniature horse in 2012. Then in 2014, we moved to the US, from Belgium to the US. Now, I don't have kids, and my first horse, Deauke, I learned so much from him that we were so close and had such a big connection that I could not even imagine that I would not take him to my new home. So we actually had the horse flown over with the airplane. We didn't know if we would like the US, so we waited a little bit to see what we were going to do with the miniature horse. And then a year later, we decided we love it here in the US. We're going to stay for several years. What are we going to do with the miniature horse? So we brought him over as well. Then, guess what? Let me look at my picture. In 2016, I finally got my dog. And then in 2017, some impulsive reaction of mine had me rescue a horse. So we got a third horse. And last year, we rescued another dog. So that's how it started, with me wanting a dog, now getting a dog, and then starting with one horse. And then at a certain point, we had 3 horses and now 2 dogs. So that's just something funny. So what I learned with being with my horses and interacting with them, and I'm not even necessarily talking about riding the horse, so just the handling, everyday handling of the horse. And with that lady with her horsefulness programs, I went into training with her. So things that I learned was awareness. Awareness is like a huge theme in my life. And I'm also a coach, healthy habits coach, leadership agility coach. And the awareness is just big. Without awareness, awareness of your surroundings, awareness of yourself, your body, your thoughts, your feelings. If you are not aware, then you cannot change it because you don't know that it's there. So awareness is huge, and that's what you learn with being with horses. A lot of self-reflection goes on. I get insights. When I'm stuck with my business, for example, or with coaching a client, I go out to my horses, I spend some time with it, I come back that same day, the day after, I get this epiphany. It's huge. So it's like you're stuck, and being with them helps you get unstuck. You also have to think out of the box. You're in an environment, you're out in nature, you're not in your office setting. Like I said, you can't dominate horses, so you need to think differently than you're used to with your interaction with people or with dogs. And so you have to think differently. It helps you think out of the box. Discovering limiting beliefs, I'll talk a little bit about that later. Understanding and compassion. Most people love animals, so we are patient when we want to handle our horse. We don't get angry with the horse. We understand that it's a creature, it's an animal, and we want to treat animals right. So you have a relationship with the horse of understanding and compassion, and this reflects to your relationship with yourself and with other people. Authenticity, being congruent. What does that mean? When you're feeling a certain feeling inside and you're showing something on the outside, when you're with horses, you will not fool them. They will like prick, I don't know if that's a word, right through that. They will punch a hole in that. For example, when I do coaching with horses with people that are used to being with horses and who say, I know all about horses, I grew up with them, and they pretend, I mean it in a good way, in a nice way. They pretend to be totally comfortable with horses, for example, but then they are with my big Frisian, and my Frisian responds like there's something off. The energy is not, the vibes are not sending out the right the vibes that are going on the inside. So if the person is scared or is a lot of ego is going on, then the horse will show you that like something is off and this is not right, and he will give little signals to show that. And then I point that out as the facilitator of the coaching session. I point that out to the person. The horses, working with horses can also teach you to do nothing. We are so, us humans, and more so like the older, my generation and older, we are not used to doing nothing. And doing nothing is actually a thing. And it's hard for most people to do nothing. That means just to sit there and be, just sit and be. So that's what you can learn with horses. You don't have to always have an activity to be happy or to feel content. So that's also what you learn. You learn about confidence. The list is limitless, what you can learn with working with horses. So leadership with horses, why is that theme so, does it work so well with horses? It because what horses want, their priorities, first survival, then comfort, then leadership, is a little bit what most humans want as well. They first want to feel safe, and then they want to be comfortable, you know, have the food, water, warmth, cold, whatever they're needing. And when that is satisfied, they will look for leadership. Horses are in a herd, several horses in one herd, and there is always a leader horse. Sometimes that shifts. And when you come in as a human, you are supposed to take up that leadership role, so that then you are in leadership. Now, when you have no direction, your intentions are not set in stone, then the horses will feel that there's something wrong, and they will, and you're being incongruent, they will not follow you as a leader. And you can then use force, dominance, but that will damage the relationship that you've built with the horse or your future relationship, and that won't work. So why leadership with the horses is because they're big, and you can't, with human force, you cannot force them to do something. So you have to think differently to motivate them why they should follow you or why they should do what you ask them to do. So it's very, very unique. The coaching setups that I offer is one-on-one. That means that there's the horse and there's the individual, and I am the facilitator. So I offer 7-week sessions, and every 1 day a week, there's one session a week, and every session the individual gets a kind of an assignment. It's set, it's, you know, specified upfront what that is, and then I observe how this person performs that assignment, and I'm observing, and then afterwards I give feedback to this person, and with that feedback this person gets insights. A lot of self-reflection is going on, self-discovery, and learning about herself or himself, and learning about relationships with other people. And that's mostly a 7-week program. Then I also offer in duo. That means that you come with 2 people, a couple, 2 friends, or 2 people that don't know each other. And here is what you see here, these acrobatic things. This is horse and yoga. So yes, you can actually do yoga with a horse, and you don't necessarily have to be on the horse. I will show you how that goes if you're not on the horse in a minute. So this is with 2, and what is great about this is that it's about trust, it's about communicating with each other. So there is always a handler of the horse, and then there is someone that is doing the activity. That is in duo. Then always debriefing afterwards, always time for self-reflection. Here is an example of horse and yoga, not on the horse. I'm not sure, it's the first time I did a video in a presentation, so I'm not sure if it will want to, it's streaming, so let's just give it 5 seconds, and if not, then I'll make sure that I get it to you, Shane, and that you can post it or something. So it keeps.
While we're waiting, is the duo also 7 weeks, like the one-on-one?
This can be like a one-time session. Of course, follow-up sessions are great, because the first time maybe this person has never been so close with a horse, has never been on a horse. So the more sessions, the more you learn about yourself. Yeah. So this is, we're gonna skip this, unfortunately. Then there should be a picture. I think the video messed up the picture. Anyhow, there's also group sessions possible. That is like mostly in a corporate group. So for team dynamics, so when there's a group in a company, let's say the HR department, with the HR manager and then his assistants or her assistants, they come to interact with the horses. Again, they get assignments, and they learn about communication, about the difference between one-way communication, giving an order, and then two-way communication, giving the order, but then going back and forth about what exactly the outcome needs to be, and how as a team you can bring that about. So the people that come and work with me and with the horses here are mostly people that are not used to, not familiar with horses. So that is very interesting, and it's also, I like that, because they don't have limiting beliefs, not so much as people that are very used to working with horses. So it's a very non-conventional approach and belief that I have about being with horses. So the less they know about it, I think the better, or the more they learn. Otherwise, they have this limiting belief. They're more narrow-minded. They have their perception, and so yeah, it's more difficult for them to. Oh no, I thought it was gonna want to come. No, on. Never mind that. Okay, so I had here a group photo, the one that I had in the beginning. So yeah, so mostly corporate. Yeah, and then, sorry about that. Here we go. Yeah, so yeah, I'll finish this presentation so we can get to the questions. Resources that I strongly recommend, and I'm sure that Shane will give them in an email, or it's Horses Never Lie, Mark Rashid, The Horse Seeks Me, Close Hemfling, Riding Home, The Horse as the Mirror of the Soul, and then She Flies Without Wings. So that's all great lecture. Audiobooks, if you've never tried an audiobook before, audible.com gives you a free book if you're new to audiobooks, so I highly recommend that. And then if you wonder, is horse-powered coaching or equine assisted coaching, if that is for you or for your company, for your team, then I'd be happy to hop on a call with you and talk more about that and see if it's actually would be a good fit for what you're looking for as results. So then just get in touch, email me, or go to my website and subscribe to my newsletters. Yeah. I'm be very happy to take your questions. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. There's so much to be said about it that, you know, this is just a little taste that I have given you.